So you want to know how to make a budget gaming setup. In this video, I'll be explaining all the things you need to make the perfect budget gaming setup for you. Everything I talk about will be on Amazon and I'll put links to them in the description below. Alright, let's get started. First off, let's start with the table for your setup. Yep, that's right, the table. One thing I have learned about gaming setups is that there is no point buying an expensive keyboard or a killer PC if you don't have the right table. In my opinion, I would go for a table that just has two legs and a piece of wood in the middle. There's no point getting a table with many shelves or drawers if you're going to primarily use it for gaming. Make sure the table you choose is quite long so it can fit multiple monitors, a keyboard and mice. Another thing I would avoid is getting an RGB gaming table because it looks incredibly ugly when paired with your PC and other RGB gadgets. The table I recommend will be provided in the description below. Next is RGB lighting. RGB is probably one of the most overlooked aspects of a gaming setup. And if you don't choose it right, it can significantly affect the aesthetics of your setup. Nowadays, RGB light strips are out of fashion and don't provide the same wow effect they used to. But if you really want light strips, I would go for the Govi ones. The best alternatives to consider are RGB panels, light bars, or RGB rope lights, which are the new and improved version of light strips. Note that you don't need RGB in a setup, as most things that I explain have RGB and it all comes down to personal preference. Next is the monitor. Probably the most important part of a setup. Before purchasing a monitor, think about these two things. Am I going to use multiple monitors? And if I do I want a monitor with a stand or with a mount? Make sure you look for monitors with high refresh rates and large screens. To ensure that your monitor lasts a long time, look for reputable brands and check reviews. My two favorite budget monitors will be in the description below. Now, let's talk about mice. When looking for mice, make sure you know if you want a wireless mouse or a wired one. Wireless mice will either come with a USB receiver or pair via Bluetooth. Also note that wired mice have less latency and respond faster than wireless ones. Although I will say that Bluetooth has advanced over the years, and if you're looking for a more aesthetic setup, then I would go for the wireless one. Be sure you're looking for good brands like Logitech, Razer or Red Dragon and not some Amazon knockoff. Mousepads, one of the most underrated parts of a setup. They take up a third of your desk space, so be sure to choose one that's good looking but effective. There's not much to talk about with mousepads, but make sure you get an extra large one to fit your keyboard and mouse on it. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Keyboards. I've already made a video about reviewing my top 5 best budget keyboards, and I 100% recommend watching it. But to summarize, if you want a great gaming keyboard, go for a mechanical keyboard. Keyboards are always going to be on the higher end of the price range, so make sure you do plenty of research before buying one. Once again, I will leave a link to my favorite budget keyboards in the description below. Finally, let's talk about headsets. Many people overlook headsets and just look for a cheap one with a decent mic. Don't make this mistake. When gaming for long hours, you need a good headset to keep your head comfortable and not end up like this. Of course, it's going to be expensive, but it'll be 100% worth the price if you're an everyday gamer. Make sure you find one that suits your aesthetics and has a great mic. Alright, now you know how to create a perfect budget gaming setup. But there's one thing I didn't talk about, and that's buying a gaming PC. Click on this video to find your desired gaming PC that perfectly fits your budget.